such a fun show planned for today. It's all about sourdough zucchini bread and banana bread. Yep, you heard it right. It's the both quick breads that are two of my very favorite, and I'm going to show you how to do them with sourdough. Yep, coming up right now on Cooking with Chef Bryan. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Chef Bryan, and you're watching Cooking with Chef Bryan, and I'm so excited to show you how to do zucchini bread. I love zucchini bread. It is so delicious, but not only am I going to show you how to do zucchini bread, I'm going to show you how to do banana bread as well, sourdough styles. I'm going to start off the first one with zucchini bread, and I'll show you how to put everything together, how I learned it years ago, and maybe it'll be kind of fun for you in the kitchen, starting with the zucchini. Now, I just have some zucchini here. I'm going to set this bowl aside because we're going to combine all of our wet ingredients into there. I'm going to just cut these into some even pieces. And what I want is about 2 cups worth of grated zucchini. And that's easy to do. I'm just going to have the food processor do it. You can do one of the box graters if you want to. I have the shredder blade in here. And so when you have the shredder blade, many times they have both a fine and a larger shred on it. I'm just going with the larger shred on it today. And so very simple to do. But it doesn't matter which one you do. You can do either one on there. The biggest part is we want 2 cups of zucchini in there. So I'm going to add these into the hopper of the food processor, and we'll get those grated up to go into our zucchini bread and get this going here. So very, very simple. And honestly, that's a lot easier than on a box grater. But if you don't have a food processor, you can absolutely grate those on a box grater, or just finely chop them up if you don't have a box grater. And so it's just up to you however you want to do it. Just get some shredded zucchini in there. So let's set all this aside for the moment. We're gonna add a couple of cups of the shredded zucchini in there. So let's make sure we have a couple of cups here first of all. So I'm gonna just measure this out. And I just know that this is looking pretty close to 2 cups there. So I'm feeling pretty confident to put all of this into here. Now it's kind of fun. When I learned how to do quick breads years ago with my mom, what she taught me was use 2 separate bowls, one for wet, one for dry. And it was kind of a game when I was little. I thought that was kind of fun to do. So we're going to use 2 separate bowls just to show the differences between the wet and the dry ingredients. So obviously the zucchini is going to be wet, so we're going to put it in a metal bowl today. And so I have the zucchini in here already. To this, I want to add a couple of eggs. Eggs are very important in a quick bread. Don't do like I've done before and forget the eggs. So let's add in 1 more, so for 3 eggs. And don't worry about the measurements. You can always go to cookingwithchefbryan.com and pull up the recipe, and so it'll be on there as well. So once we get that into there, we're gonna add in some vanilla. Vanilla. And you know how I measure vanilla. I just am going to basically pour it in there for about a tablespoon's worth. And there we have the vanilla in there. Also to this, we're going to add in some cooking oil, about 1/4 cup's worth of cooking oil into there. And we'll just eyeball that today. You can absolutely measure it. And with quick breads, they're a little more forgiving, so you don't have to be so exact on all of the measurements, just close there to it. So now let's mix all this together. This is going to be our wet ingredients. And so very, very simple. There we go. Everything's mixed together. And that vanilla smells really good, you guys. And I'm gonna set this bowl aside. And so we're gonna grab now another bowl. So the other bowl here, I'll just switch places with those. The other bowl is going to contain not only the dry ingredients, but we're gonna mix everything in with it. And so with that said, to this I wanna add into it, I'm looking at just making sure I have everything over here, a couple of cups of flour. And so we'll measure in a couple of cups of flour. And since we're using sourdough, we won't have to use quite so much leavening in it because the sourdough is going to be a leavener as well. I'm going to add into it some salt. There we go. And a little bit of sugar is going to go into there. And I have to say my zucchini bread has a little more sugar in it than the banana bread. It's quite a much sweeter bread. And so when you do that, if you don't like it that sweet, you can cut down on the sugar, but I'm going to add in a couple of cups worth of sugar is going to go into there as well. Now with that done, I want to add in the spices. And of course this is going to have cinnamon in it, which I love cinnamon, but cinnamon is one of those spices that when you get it into there, sometimes it can be a little overpowering. So if you're not a big cinnamon fan, you can cut the cinnamon with nutmeg. So put half and half cinnamon, and then you're going to put in a little bit of nutmeg. And I'm just trying to get the cinnamon actually open here. So let me just finish opening that up there so we can get our cinnamon in there. There we go. About a tablespoon's worth of cinnamon is going to go into there. Set that aside, and now I'm going to add in a little bit of the leaveners. And so to this, we're going to add into it, about a quarter teaspoon or so of baking soda is going to go into there, and about a tablespoon or so of the baking powder is going to go into there. And so once you get all of this into there, that's going to be our dry ingredients. Let me just double check that I didn't forget anything into there. There we go. That was actually more like about 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So now that we have our dry ingredients together, I'm going to mix these all together so they're combined. And this was the fun I remember from my childhood, is that Mom would do a glass bowl and then a stainless bowl. And those were the 2 different types of bowls there. So when we come back here, I'll show you how to mix all of these together. It'll be perfect. I can't wait for this zucchini bread to come out of the oven.
Hot and fresh from your oven. Rhodes.
Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. I'm so excited to have you in my kitchen today. We're making zucchini bread, but we're doing a sourdough zucchini bread. So very, very simple. Earlier I showed you we grated up some zucchini. There's some eggs in here, a little vanilla, some oil. Over here we have the dry ingredients. I've switched out to my dough hook. Now many of you are probably going to go, oh, what is this? This is just a dough hook. I got it from King Arthur Flour many years ago, so I'm sure you can find them online, and they are great for mixing quick breads and doughs like this. In here I have the dry ingredients, and from my childhood I want to point out the fun that I had of learning between wet and dry ingredients at home with Mom. 2 different bowls, and so that was the fun one there, that I have the dry ingredients in one, I have the wet ingredients in the other. But as a child, that was really fun. When I saw the 2 different bowls, I thought, oh my gosh, that looks amazing in there. And so let me go ahead and scrape that into there. And then to this, we're going to add the sourdough start. And so sourdough is very simple. You can find my sourdough start on the website, and you can get it there. It's very simple to do. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a cup's worth of sourdough start to this as well. And that's going to help with the leavening of the bread, and it's going to give it a very rich, sour taste to it. And so I love sourdough. I think it's one of those delicious doughs that we here in the Intermountain West love, from the pioneers and the mountain men that used to go around, and it's just kind of stayed here in the West. So once all the wet ingredients are in here, you're just going to start to mix this all together. And you can see why this dough hook is so easy with this. Can you do this in your blender or your mixer? Absolutely you can. And so that's a nice way that you can do this. So mixing away, you can see that the dough hook it works really well doing this. And so just mix that till it comes together. And with quick breads, you don't want to mix them so much that they become glutinous, like artisan breads or something like that, because you still want them to have a tender crumb to them, and that's important. So let's just mix, making sure that all of this is mixed together. Get all the bottom up. I think a lot of times with baking that quick breads are one of the first breads that you make, either biscuits or zucchini bread, something like that, because it's one of those breads that are easy to do and you see great success with them. And I would encourage anyone who wants to start baking, start with quick breads. They're very nice and easy to do. So now I'm just going to take a couple of bread pans here. These are 8 by 4 bread pans, meaning 8 inches deep, 4 inches across, and that is going to be the size. We're going to split this in half and add into there. If you have larger bread pans, you can absolutely use those, but what you want to do is just to be sure that you don't have the zucchini bread flow over, so don't overfill them. Just use them according to what the bread pans that you have are. Many times I'll take this batter and just put it in mini bread pans and take it to the neighbors. And so it's really versatile what you can do with quick breads, and that's why I think they're a great item to start when you are starting to bake. So I'm going to fill these bread pans up about halfway full. And it'll rise up there. Now, unlike regular bread, you don't let this leaven. You don't let it raise at this point. It'll just go right into the oven. Have your oven preheated to 350 degrees. And they're going to bake for about 45 minutes, which is pretty standard. But I always do a toothpick test on them to make sure that they are done. And what that is you just basically are going to put a toothpick in there and it should come out clean. And so very, very simple to do. All right. Scrape that all into there. Oh, I'm flipping dough everywhere. Let's take that now to the sink in there. I'm going to rinse out this bowl because I want to get started on our delicious banana bread. So very, very simple to do. These are now ready to go into the oven. I'm going to set them aside and I want to start on our banana bread. So very good. The kitchen is going to be smelling amazing today with cinnamon and all of those wonderful spices that are going to be in the air. Going to wipe off that dough that I flipped around. Getting that off. There we go. That's one of those things that, Mom always taught me growing up. You always clean up after yourself. So anybody out there that's going into baking or cooking, always learn to clean up after yourself as you go along so there's not a big mess afterwards. So now what I want to start with, I'm going to grab the bananas and get those mashed up. You want about a cup worth of bananas into there. And so once you get those into there, get them mashed up as well. You always want the bananas to be nice and ripe. And so it's one of those delicious things that if you have really overripe bananas, you can use these in banana bread and it's so convenient. Also, if you don't have really ripe bananas or if you have too many ripe bananas, what you can do, freeze them and then pull them out as you need them. And so very, very simple to do. So a cup's worth of bananas, about 3 of these bananas. They're not very large. I'm going to get these all mashed up. When we come back, I'll show you how to put together the sourdough banana bread.
As summer comes into full swing, it's time to fire up the grill and treat your family to a special outdoor meal featuring everyone's favorite Klondike brand potatoes. Enjoy preparing one of our many chef-inspired recipes from the web, or create your own backyard culinary masterpiece using varieties from the full line of Klondike potatoes. Visit KlondikeBrands.com today for hundreds of recipe ideas and make your summers sizzle with Klondike Brands.
Welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. We're working on some zucchini bread and some banana bread, sourdough style. I've shown you how to put together the zucchini bread. It is ready to go into the oven and bake off now. As far as the banana bread, I pretty much have things put together since I showed you with the zucchini bread how to put things in separate bowls, the dry, then the wet ingredients, then you're gonna mix them all together. These are perfect types of breads for beginning how to bake, learning how to bake for a beginner. There we go. All right, so in here I have all the wet ingredients. I have the mashed up bananas, the vanilla, eggs, oil. Gonna mix those all together. Once again, I do have my little trusty dough hook, which works out great for this. To the wet ingredients, I wanna add a cup worth of my sourdough start. And you can just Google on my website or search on the website for my sourdough start. And so it's a simple thing, just flour and water. If you want to jump start it, you can put a little pinch of just regular yeast in it if you want to, or just let it sit out and capture the natural yeasts. And so it's just up to you how you would like to make them. So now as far as the sourdough start, what I'll do, I've taken out 2 cups of sourdough. Now this gets complicated for some people. They think they should put 1 cup of flour and 1 cup of water back, but what I want to do is put 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of water back. So I want to put back the equal amounts that I've taken out of there of water and flour. So that would be 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of water to put back into there. To this, I am going to mix the sourdough start into there. with the bananas. And I remember when I was in Hawaii, honestly, the best banana bread I've ever had. It was on one of the back roads. I think I was on the road to Hana or something like that. And we stopped, and it was a little grandma shop, and she had banana bread and some other types of quick breads there. But that banana bread was amazing. To this very day, I remember that banana bread. So now I'm just going to mix all this together so that it pulls together. I have 2 more bread pans here that I have sprayed with vegetable spray so that they are well coated on there. Oven is getting preheated up to 350 degrees. And we'll get these baking in there. Ooh, I love the smell of banana bread. Those bananas in Hawaii were so flavorful. That's really what I remember, is just the flavor of that. And that they just go out and pick them probably off the tree, and that's why they're so flavorful. But here, if your bananas aren't, you could put some banana extract in there if you really wanted to bump up that flavor just a little bit. All right, so the banana bread is all mixed together with the sourdough. I've sprayed off the bread pans. We're going to divide this out. I'm going to just take out the hook and use a spatula for a little bit easier so I don't flip dough all over my countertop here. That's what I did with my dough cook earlier. So very simple to do. All right, so now I'm just going to divide the dough in half. It's going to go into these pans. We talked a little bit about the bread pans, of how you can tell if one bread pan is going to be a little bit different from the other bread pan. So it's just really up to you. And then as I was thinking about this, oh, I almost forgot to put in the cinnamon. We can't have that. Let's put this back in so that we can get the cinnamon in there as well. You can also put nuts in here if you want a banana nut bread. So very, very simple. There we go. Add in that cinnamon so we have a nice little flavor to it. About a tablespoon's worth of cinnamon. Get that mixed into there. I get talking about fun stories and memories of, Hawaii and that, and it's like, oh, forgot the cinnamon. Can't have that. If any of you have been to Hawaii in Maui and you've gone over to the road to Hana, maybe you've stopped at that little banana shop, I don't know, and gotten some banana bread. It's really not even a shop, it's just a shanty to the side of the road, and it was just so fun. So, all right, add that into there. And if you go, you need a convertible. So get a convertible if you're over there. Okay, so there's half of it into there. We'll put the other half into this loaf pan. And these are going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to test them to make sure that they're done. And I use a toothpick method, and you guys are going to laugh when I show you this toothpick method. It seriously is so funny what I use. Let me show you really quick before we head into a commercial break. But voila! I use a chopstick. It works out perfect for it. So don't go away. When we come back, we're going to wrap all this up. I'm going to show you how delicious these baked off breads are.
It's no secret, frozen rolls are fresher than bakery rolls. You see, bakery rolls are made in commercial bakeries. Then they sit all day in stores. Some even contain preservatives because rolls begin to stale immediately. By the time you eat your roll, it could already be days old. Rhodes Bake and Serve is found in your grocer's freezer. Simply take Rhodes frozen roll dough home and let it thaw and rise in a pan. Bake Rhodes rolls in your own oven. Rhodes Bake and Serve, hot and fresh, right out of your oven.
Welcome back, everybody. Should we wrap up this delicious sourdough zucchini bread and sourdough banana bread? I put them in the oven. They baked for about 45 minutes, and I did the old toothpick test, which I showed you earlier. I use a chopstick, actually, when I do it, and they came out clean. Took them out of the oven. They've cooled on a wire rack now. I've got the banana bread already cut. I'm going to cut up some of the zucchini bread. And I'm going to serve it with a little bit of apple jam and some whipped cream cheese. And so very, very simple to do there. And so that's the beauty of it. I don't think many people think about putting cream cheese on the bread here. And my little dachshund, Gussie, if you follow me on Instagram, Chef Bryan Woolley, you've seen the dachshunds. And Gussie, the dachshund, loves bananas. And so he can smell the banana bread and is in here right at my feet just begging for a piece of banana bread. So here you have it, the two breads, banana and zucchini, delicious. Gonna serve those up with a little bit of the apple jam, of course. How is that? Of course, it's homemade apple jam. Okay, thanks to my mom. All right, spread that onto there. And then on the other one, how about on the banana bread, I'll do some of the cream cheese on there. And so cream cheese is good. And what's even better, you guys, you can actually mix this with a little bit of the apple jam, and it is so deliciously good. Just kind of spread that right onto there. And there you have it. Now you can also, like I had said earlier, put nuts in the banana bread or the zucchini bread for that matter. It just depends on who's eating it, if there are nut allergies or whatnot. Now you can go on to cookingwithchefbryan.com and grab these recipes. It's a great website. If you don't see the recipe featured that you're looking for, just simply go up to the search bar and type in what you're looking for and it'll search through the whole website. If you'd like to Google it, you simply can Google it, type in the name of the recipe followed by Chef Bryan, and then it will pull up the recipe as well. And you can find me on all social media. The one social media that I really do pay most attention to is Instagram. That's the one that I can answer questions on. I finally had to come to a decision to really follow one of them because I couldn't keep up with everything that was going on all the social media platforms. Although I do post to all of them, it's my Instagram account that I actually will pay most attention to if you send me a message. And so Chef Bryan Woolley on Instagram, Chef Bryan on Twitter, and Facebook as well. So you can find the Cooking with Chef Bryan show on there. So I'm ready to dig into some of these breads here. I can't wait, actually. Sometimes, honestly, I just like the bread fresh out of the oven. It's a little warm with some butter. Just plain and simple on there, guys. It's going to be one of those delicious dishes that honestly you're not going to be able to get enough of. So I'm going to dig in here. Once again, head on over to cookingwithchefbryan.com. You can grab the recipe there, or you can just Twitter or Google it if you want to. The sourdough zucchini bread, sourdough banana bread, Chef Bryan, and it'll pull those up. Happy baking, everybody out there, and enjoy these two delicious sourdough breads. You can find all of these complete recipes on my website, cookingwithchefbryan.com.